you're a person who I admire greatly because we were at university together. For this reason, you know your why and you help others to find theirs. When did you really know that you had a sense of a calling from God on your life?
The strict answer is I knew that from the moment that I knew Jesus Christ. In other words, I don't want to limit knowing what God is calling you to ordination. So I found myself in the oil industry with a clear sense of that God wanted me there and I was to serve him there. And I think I'd want to say to people, don't limit what God is calling you into. There was a very early Christian leader called Irenaeus who said words to the effect, as you become the most you can be, the most fully human being you can possibly be when you are found in Jesus Christ.
That's amazing.
And knowing your why starts with knowing your who. What is my identity?
Ah, yes.
And once I know my identity, I know that God has called me. And so if you want the most fulfilled life, the most ample life, it is found in knowing your identity and then through that knowing where you are called and what you're meant to be doing.
What advice would you give to someone when, it's great to, you're enthusiastic, you sense there's a direction that God is nudging you towards, and then the real world sort of creeps in and sort of makes it just the more difficult.
I mean, isn't it, it's something you've known as well, but the moments in your life, tragedy and overwhelming joy or celebration don't make bookings in the diary. It's one of the most striking things. They just burst in on you in the middle of a busy life. And I think finding ourselves, knowing our identity, knowing who we are, particularly knowing that in Christ, enables us not to lose sight of our why. Why am I here? What am I doing? What am I for? Is the thing to which we are called. And we are held onto that, not by us being clever, but by the grace and mercy of God. And I think when our daughter died, when I found myself called to ordination, when I suddenly found myself very unexpected as Archbishop of Canterbury, there was a lot of saying to God, are you absolutely, well, particularly being made Archbishop of Canterbury, are you absolutely sure you've got this one right?
Yes, right.
Because I need a little bit of convincing here.
Well, we're very grateful that you were convinced.
Maybe, yeah. But there is this sense of, here I am, I know what I'm called to do.
That's amazing.
And as you do it, I mean, you now have this experience, that sense of the clarification, the clarity in your mind of what your priorities are. And even when you fail, and we all fail, when you fail, when things go wrong, I think you talk about that very movingly in your book at one point, when you had great plans
and they didn't work.
They all fell through. I remember that time. It was very tough.
Yeah.
And for you, and even then, there is a sense there is still a deep purpose for us.
Well, that's
in
amazing,
our life.
because purpose really matters, but we need the grit to continue with it. But Archbishop, if I may just, I'm looking behind you. This is your home. This is Lambeth.
Bits of it are.
Bits of it. This is Lambeth Palace. I'm at pains to tell friends of mine, look, know your why isn't just something to do with you individually.
Oh gosh, yes.
When you look at the world as we see it at the moment, and you talk about identity, is there a sort of almost a global lack of sort of knowing your why? And does that worry you? And what's the way
It does
through?
worry me, because people seek to create their why, not through the call of God, but through self-creation. And I mean, there's the old saying, that if we create ourselves, we end up worshipping our maker. Yeah. And that's the most dangerous thing you can possibly do. One of the things that strikes me at the moment, it struck me very much over the last couple of years, is one of our family works at a lush community for the severely disabled.
Oh, yes.
And we go there and have meals with them and share with them. They live in community, people without any disabilities and people with very significant disabilities. And yet the people with the disabilities still know what their why.
It's amazing.
Isn't that the
amazing?
most moving thing?
That is amazing, that they know their why with the most severe handicaps.
With the most severe handicaps, perhaps not know and express in the way that you and I would, but deep down they know they have a purpose. And I think around the world, we find that difference between those who with huge difficulties say, I know why,
Yes.
and those who are either searching or have determined to create it themselves, and no cost for anyone else is too great to reach it.
Well, that's amazing. And Archbishop, thank you very much. You've kindly endorsed the book.
Absolutely.
As has your predecessor and you yourself of the first book, which is God at Work, because God
Yes.
at Work and knowing your why, I mean, they run together, don't they?
Oh, they totally run together. The dangerous thing is leaving God out of work and not having a purpose, because then you just become a loose force in the world doing no good. And you get towards the end of your life, and you and I have both met people
Yeah.
who look back and
Yeah.
say, why was I here?
Yeah.
What was it about?
What's it about?